What is happening here? Or here? Or here? Or here? Well, if you know, you're probably a victim of Overwatch like me. And if you don't, you're in luck, because you've been saved from one of the worst problems plaguing Overwatch's recent development: visual clutter. In our evolving game where every character has to do everything and has to have increasingly insane abilities in order to be able to compete, the scale, size, brightness, and color of abilities have also increased. I'll tell you about what is actually happening in those images in a bit, but in my personal opinion, things got started back when Moira was added, way back in 2017. Her kit is pretty inoffensive lighting wise. Her balls glow a little bit, but it's not anything out of the ordinary. But her ult is, let's say, eye-catching. The colors are pretty muted, with her signature purple blocking out a lot of the yellow, but this does draw attention for its length and girth alone. The next hero was Brig, and she skipped out on having super flashy abilities to just ruin the game outright instead. The next hero who really added some visual clutter and continued the worst hero trend ever was Baptiste, who was added in 2019. His shift is pretty inoffensive, but the immortality field is where the problems start. Everyone in the field glows a little bit, and the outline of the field is bright blue. Again, not that bad. But the trend that Baptiste continued, the one that I really have a problem with, is builder heroes. Torbjorn and Symmetra are the iconic builders, the blue-collar workers of Overwatch. They have the turrets who add a little bit of visual clutter, especially with Sims, but at the time when they were added, this was basically nothing. In Overwatch 2, when the game's art style changed to be more cartoony, problems started arising with the first Overwatch 2 hero, Sojourn. Her big meatball projectile is distracting, but not too bad. Junker Queen was next, and her addition to the clutter were minimal, but her ult does cause some problems sometimes. Kiriko caused small problems with her Suzu, Ramattra caused small problems with his Vortex and glowing in his ultimate. Illari added a little bit with her pylon and glowing healing, and Mauga added just a little bit with his ult. Overall, not too bad. But I left out the worst offender, a terrorist of eyeballs across the globe, Lifeweaver. Every single one of this guy's abilities glows. Why? His petal glows, his tree glows, his hand glows. His tree is by far the worst. This thing is huge. It is impossible to have a team fight while this thing is up because you can't see anything. Especially because there always seems to be two Lifeweavers who put down tree at the exact same time as each other. And to add on to that, the tree is perhaps the brightest color ever dreamt up by man. I mean, how can your eye not be drawn to this thing? The overarching problem is not just with one hero though. It's the fact that a game of Overwatch has 10 people in it. Any person in the game can choose any one of these heroes, and the odds are good that multiple of these heroes that pollute the server will be chosen. So all these little abilities that I said don't appear to do much damage really add up when you have to make split-second decisions on where to reposition or who to target, and you can't see anything or focus. Big teamfights are Overwatch's bread and butter. They are what you play the game for. But with all these abilities, you just end up in big fights like these.
Heals and just push that.
Wait. This is winnable.
Three. Dude, what is going on? Oh, he's fucking up here with me?
Yeah, there's a lot of light on the screen right now. Please, I beg, make this stuff less bright. Look, I never believed in the death penalty until I started driving. Seeing people who constantly have their LED brights on makes me want to do things that I can't say on YouTube if I want to stay monetized. People who drive lifted trucks in suburban Southern California, we all know you've never used that truck bed, so stop shining your LEDs in my mirrors. And the yellow lights people have now, it's awful. So after I drive home from work, after experiencing these lifted trucks, I hop on my favorite game, hoping to get angry and rage quit after 3 games, which is a successful Overwatch session, let's be honest, and I just get blinded by a little Thai man. Please, someone turn the brightness down, I beg you. And make sure to give the death penalty to that like button and subscribe if you're enjoying the video. Also, please hit the join button if you want to support me a little extra to make more videos. And Illari. Oh, I have my own problems with Illari, and you can watch my last video if you're curious about why, but the only way that you can argue that her ultimate is a support ability is because it blinds people temporarily. What the hell? Overwatch is not Counter-Strike. I'm not trying to get flashbanged. Illari should not be a support. I will stick by this forever. Illari, never let me catch you. Lighting bugs are pretty uncommon in Overwatch, but if I had a nickel for every time there was one in Overwatch 2 alone, I would have at least 2 nickels, which is a lot considering this is a AAA game. The most broken map in the game of all time, bar none, is Watchpoint Gibraltar. Considering that it's one of the best maps in the game, we can all look past that. But for every year that this game has been out, there's been at least one out of bounds glitch. Here's this one I found from Overwatch 1 with Pharah. Thankfully this guy is not very good, so it didn't end up affecting the course of the match very much. Here's another one I found with Reaper. There have been a bunch with Sombra, and I'm sure there are a few in the game right now that we don't even know about yet. The bug that I want to talk about with the lighting is this blinding sun on the first point. It just barely peeks over the blue box high ground and perfectly obscures snipers that are holding long angles, or just gets in your eyes in the most annoying way. At least they patched that one out because this was just incredibly annoying. There was one bug that I could pick out as the most annoying by far at the start of the game though. For those who remember, Zarya was basically an unkillable god queen at the start of Overwatch 2. For the uninitiated, in Overwatch 1 she had one bubble to give to a teammate and one bubble to give to herself. In Overwatch 2, they gave you the choice to use either bubble on yourself or a teammate. So of course, after using both bubbles for yourself, Zarya would do a bajillion damage, enough to counteract the lost teammate who was probably waiting for a bubble before going in. On top of that, her beam was like a flashbang, especially on the Halloween version of the map Eichenwald. Everything that glowed would just turn pure white, and since Zarya shot a glowing beam and had glowing bubbles, she was especially bad. If you were getting shot at by Zarya, your best hope was to turn around and accept your fate as you tried to just keep your eyesight intact. This clip from Reddit user HPL Swag shows it wasn't just Zarya though, as your screen would just sometimes randomly turn white because of abilities that you just couldn't keep track of where they were coming from. Great bug testing, guys. Unrelated, here's another funny Zarya bug shown off by Crow. They used her bubble cooldown after just spinning the mouse. That's what she deserves for Season 1. Visual clutter is one of the many problems in Overwatch, but you can't convince me that this is all that hard to fix. Make tree smaller, make some abilities glow less, choose more dull colors, even slightly more dull. I know that some people like the bright colors and choose to fry their eyes by setting their outline colors as pink or yellow, and if you do that, hey, more power to you. But for the rest of us, please, just stop making everything so damn bright, and if you want to add things that are bright, that's not a huge problem in and of itself, but at least don't make them so stupidly large that they take up the entirety of a place where you're fighting. For Life of Result specifically, one of its functions is to block doorways or paths that enemies may take. That function can be maintained while still making the tree skinnier and shorter. What doorway is 30 feet tall? He does not need all that height for this tree. Look, never do this in a game I'm playing in, please. But if you want to, I have a cheeky little secret composition for you. If you want to cause maximum visual clutter, the greatest chaos imaginable, pick these heroes. Matank, Ramattra. His vortex is massive and glows, and his ult is pretty bright in the right setting. For DPS, I would recommend Symmetra for her turrets and her wall, and Sombra for the chaos factor of EMP and Virus. For support, of course, I would choose Lifeweaver and Illari. How can the enemy team win if they can't see? I don't think they can. And finally, I'll fulfill my promise to break down these pictures as best as I can. The example from Overwatch 1 isn't even that bad compared to what we have now, but it's funny to think that we used to freak out over this. There's a Symmetra wall, a Baptiste window and immortality field, and shields from both Orisa and Sigma. Not too bad. Now the other three images are more of a struggle. The second shows the player being hit by Junker Queen's shotgun and starting to bleed while a sonar arrow goes off on the left. I don't understand how they got this picture to look so bad, considering that not much is really happening. In the third image, we see two Mauga cages as the player gets trapped by Junkrat. There's also a sim wall for extra readability, and this last image, even to me, with more than 2,000 hours on the game, probably 3,000 at this point, this is impossible to understand. Maybe someone in the comments can figure this out because I truly have no idea what is happening here. Problems with readability like these make Overwatch impossible to understand to new fans. I mean, even I don't know what's going on in some of these. So please, Overwatch, let's just turn the brightness down a little bit. But never turn the brightness down on the subscribe button, baby. And hey, let's even turn the brightness up on that join button, where you can help me to make more videos for $2 or $5 a month, please. Somebody sign up, I swear, I'll shout you out. It would be awesome, please, please. Just try it out, guys, please.